That's, I think, a terrible parallel. This is Chris Christie's problem, and there's no parallel to President Obama here. Christie is the governor of New Jersey, and if President Obama, to bring up Benghazi and the IRS is like flailing for some sort of distraction.
That's true
I mean,
also.
come on.
That's the point.
It's Chris Christie. It's New Jersey.
Yeah.
Stick to that story, which is fascinating.
Fascinating. All right, we heard that earlier. That's Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe on MSNBC. Joining us now, though, is my friend Ellis Henican, columnist for New York Newsday and co-author of, many books. He's got a book out there, Damn Few, making the modern SEAL warrior, and he's also got a book coming out in just a couple of weeks. Let's welcome Ellis Henican. And Ellis, that's a very exciting book with the former governor of Florida.
That's right. Hey, Steve, good to see you, man. The book. Can I just say the name?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's called The Party's Over.
Right.
It's by Charlie Christie.
And you talk about the Republican Party.
That's right. Well, you know the basic premise, and I'm sure lots of your listeners are stirred up by this. But yeah, the crazy people in the last few years, extremists, real right-wing, people out there, have taken over in the Republican Party, and it's driven more moderate people like Charlie Christie away. I think it's great. I think you all should drive all the moderates away.
Well, it's good enough to have won the House, and it's going to be good enough to win the Senate. And if it's going to be Hillary running in 2016, it's going to be good enough to win the presidency for the Republicans as well. Let's talk about this Chris Christie scandal here. And I live in Jersey, and I think if he's lying, from what he said at his press conference, if he's lying, he's done, and he should be done. Yeah. If he didn't know anything about it, here's what he did. He came forward. He took charge. He's fired people. He's going to cooperate fully with investigations. The complete opposite of what was done with Hillary Clinton. What difference does it make? I never saw the letter for more security. No one was fired. IRS scandal. Lying for 3 years.
Okay,
Obama.
Steve. Can we do Christie today?
Well, no.
I mean, I understand.
Are you related to Mika? Are you related
to Mika? Hold on a second. No. Let's agree. I'm going to get some agreement.
But Ellis, I'm getting to it.
I'm going to get some agreement.
Ellis,
you and
I'm getting to it. I'm just saying.
Oh, we have to do the history of Democratic corruption.
Christie shows himself, if he didn't know anything here, as a leader, as someone willing to accept responsibility and take action, unlike Hillary and unlike Barack Obama. Now, go ahead.
Let me agree with you on one thing. There have been Democrats in the history of the Democratic Party who've done awful things. Okay, let's just agree on that. Okay, and those are bad things. So let's agree on that and then push it aside. Here's what's interesting to me about Christie, is that it does not fall along the traditional left-right lines, right? A lot of my conservative friends just really don't like the guy.
I don't like him.
I mean, and I think you understand. And so you don't feel like, oh my God, I got to defend this guy no matter what he does. And some of my liberal friends actually kind of like him. I mean, they kind of think, well, you know what? For a Republican, he's not that bad. He's kind of moderate. He can do business with Obama. He's not so bad. So what's cool about this story to me is that it really is, in its essence, just like an old-fashioned, bully boy corruption story, and I think that's great, so we can analyze it on its own terms.
Okay, well, no, absolutely, but I am making, which Mika didn't want to do on MSNBC, I am saying that if it comes to a presidential race and you have Christie, which I don't think will get a nomination, but if it were Christie and Hillary, I think this would, if he's telling the truth, benefit him in the way they each handle their own quote-unquote scandals.
Right, he's got to get through whether he's going to be impeached or not as governor of New Jersey, though, right? I mean, there was a lot of stuff between him and being the nominee of the Republicans in 2016, right?
Absolutely. I don't know if impeachment is one of them,
who
but
knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. But I mean, there's clearly, I think you and I agree a fair amount of this. I mean, there's clearly some great political risk to him. He has phenomenal skills, right? He's like Rudy Giuliani. He's great at standing up. He knows how to present a case effectively as a lawyer. He's a, engaging, kind of rough-hewn, likable guy. On the other hand, some stuff was going on in that governor's office that no decent person could like. I mean, you don't want the people in some town needing to pay some price of retribution because their mayor did or didn't endorse somebody. You don't want something that like what was happening in these other places where if you don't endorse the governor, all of a sudden all your appointments with
you don't want anybody abusing power.
No,
never.
And some of this stuff. I mean, there's a deniability question. Can he really have all this going on in his office and not know about it? And maybe yes, maybe no. But I mean, that's a pretty bad thing.
I couldn't agree more. It's a problem. But okay,
this is fun. I like agreeing.
But let's go to the IRS, which it turns out there are probably not going to be any criminal charges in that
we done
scandal.
with Christie?
No, we're talking.
We're done with Christie?
We're done with Christie for
I
now.
like Christie. Let's talk more about Christie.
No, that's enough with Christie. Now we go on. Now this is unlike the other media. Now we go on to the real.
This is real.
The real scandal of consequence.
Okay.
And we both agreed we don't like abuse of power.
Okay.
The IRS targeting conservative groups, and Eric Holder. Imagine if Christie appointed someone to look into this, or the person appointed by whomever to look into this scandal on a legal basis to see if crimes were committed. Christie. Well, imagine if it was a guy who contributed twice to Christie's gubernatorial campaigns and to the Republican Party. Well, that's what happened in the Justice Department. They took a woman who twice $3,000 twice to Obama and to the Democratic Party to investigate whether there was criminality in the IRS scandal. The media silent, and of course she determined nothing here. Goodbye. Case closed. When I have the lawyer for many of the groups, I had her on earlier, Cleta Mitchell, who said that the media not talking about this means what Holder did and what's going on here is the media being racist.
I don't have anything to do with race. I debated this with O'Reilly the other night, so it's something I'm up to speed on. And let me say, I understand.
You're up to speed on everything.
Oh, well, no. I mean, I happen to know a little bit about this. And it's funny. When I first heard about it, I was like, ooh, I don't know, right? As I began
you mean about the woman who was chosen?
Yeah, okay. No, the woman who was the lawyer who was appointed to investigate. But, it's interesting. And I understand there's like you make a good rhetorical point there. But let me tell you, when you think about it a little more, just follow me a second. The people at the Justice Department say, listen, it would be improper for us to go and investigate the political contributions of someone who was appointed as a special counsel in a case like this, who was given a responsibility to look into this. What the Justice Department says, and I think this actually might make some sense, we should not put a political litmus test on these people. And the woman has a right to make a campaign contribution. That's perfectly appropriate. In fact, our entire judicial system is based on politics. The president appoints every single federal judge. So, I mean, if this is horrible, are you comfortable with the entire judiciary being appointed either by Bush or Reagan or Clinton or Obama? We have a political judiciary. That's what we have in this country.
I was when they had a filibuster for judicial appointments, which was since taken away by King Reed, and now all they need is a simple majority.
But
now
how can you say, Steve, seriously, how can you say, let me make this okay. How can you say it's outrageous that this woman was appointed to how can you say that?
Because she obviously likes Obama.
Would it have been okay if she made a contribution to the Bush campaign?
No,
or what if she voted?
No, the question is, and this is where you'll come in, and I'm assuming you'll be honest. If my good
Always
rhetorical
honest.
point were in actuality, and the person investigating Christie appointed by an underling of Christie to investigate this, and that's not happening.
Well,
but let me finish.
Actually, he's trying to do that. Look who he wants to have as the next Attorney General.
But forget that. The Attorney General's not investigating this. It's being federally investigated, and it's being investigated by the State Assembly and Senate. But let me just ask you, in a fictional context here, but you could still be honest. If it was Christie, picking the person to investigate, and he picked somebody who twice contributed to his campaign and to the state GOP, you'd sit there and say the same exact thing you just said about. Would you?
Let me tell you what I would say.
Yes or no? It's easy.
I'll give you a sense. I can't do it in a word.
Sure you can.
I can do it in a sentence.
You either would or you wouldn't.
No, I can do it in a sentence. Our entire judiciary.
That's not the answer. That's not an answer.
Based on that.
But that's not an answer.
Every day, the federal judges make decisions appointed by presidents about the actions of presidents.
So
I mean, we just got to. Everybody in this. There are only two parties, Steve. Just about everybody's in one or the other.
So you're saying you would feel the same way in my scenario, or you wouldn't?
I think it's trivial and it doesn't matter. That's really what I think.
Even if it were Christie's?
Trivial. No matter who does it, it's trivial.
Okay, all right. If that's what you're saying, then
I need
my. You know what I need? I need my liberal decoder.
I'll help you. I will help you, Steve.
We're talking to Ellis Henican, columnist for Newsday, and a co-author of a new book that's about to come out with Charlie Christie, former at the end of the party. It's called. It's coming out February 4th. It's with the former governor of Florida, who switched from Republican to Democrat, and he's running again. I guess he's going to run again for the governor's mansion in Florida. Okay, Benghazi. Can we play Can we play 18 just for some nice nice effects here, and actually tells the story. It will tell the story. Every picture tells the story.
The assault on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi began at 9:42 Libya time on the night of September 11, 2012. And within 15 minutes, General Carter Ham, the head of AFRICOM, was notified. Ham told the House Armed Services Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations in June 2013, "My first call was to General Dempsey, General Dempsey's office, to say, hey, I am headed down the hall. I need to see him right away. I told him what I knew. We immediately walked upstairs to meet with Secretary Panetta. Then Defense Secretary Leon Panetta and General Martin Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, were already scheduled to see President Obama in the Oval Office on different subjects. Congressman Buck McKeon, the Republican chairman of the Armed Services Committee, asked Ham, in your discussions with General Dempsey and Secretary Panetta, was there any mention of a demonstration or was all discussion about an attack? We knew, Ham testified, that a U.S. facility had been attacked and was under attack, and we knew at that point that we had two individuals, Ambassador Stevens and Mr. Smith, unaccounted for."
All right, that report is just one cut of a huge report done by Fox News Channel and James Rosen over the past couple of nights. And, today we get a report from the Senate Intelligence Committee saying that the attacks were preventable. And, of course, here's one quote from it. "The State Department should have increased its security posture more significantly in Benghazi based on the deteriorating security situation on the ground and the threat reporting on the prior attacks against Westerners in Benghazi." And still questions remain here.
Sure. You want to learn lessons and make sure these things never happen again.
Well, no, we also want to find out and hold somebody accountable. Why did Hillary not provide more security when the ambassador wrote her? She said she never saw the letter.
I don't think anyone thinks that the Secretary of State ought to know location by location the exact security plans at every single diplomatic facility in the world. No one thinks the Secretary of State should spend all day doing that. Right?
How about an unarmed facility that's where there's been a killing of Westerners and the Al-Qaeda flag was flying right next to it?
I would say this, looking back on it, we clearly didn't have adequate security there. We got to do a better job keeping that up. But these are dangerous jobs taken on by people who understand the risks, who are great patriots.
Ambassadors don't get killed.
Great patriots.
Ambassadors don't get killed. Well, the great patriots deserve answers. The mother of one of those great patriots says that Hillary killed my son. Well, Hillary won't talk to her. No one in the State Department or the government will give her answers, and she's beside herself. Does the mother of a great patriot deserve answers?
All parents of children who are killed grieve with great respect for my heart. I don't question the anger and upset and disappointment of the mother of any dead American, and my heart goes out to the
Will this hurt Hillary if she runs? Will she have questions to answer? Will this be
a
big issue?
I would say the evidence from the last election, in terms of Rice and Obama and others, it seems not to have had a lot of effect. But I don't know. I mean, it's a volatile political issue, and it's an emotional issue, and we have dead Americans, and that's a sure, it could have political effect.
By the way, Ellis, I'm sorry about the Saints.
Yeah, I'm really bummed out about that.
It's going to be an interesting weekend, even with the absence of the Saints. And who are you rooting for?
You know what? My heart has been broken by the loss of my native New Orleans Saints.
Do you root for the team that beat them, or do you root against the team that beat them?
God, this is not. Now these are hard decisions.
We got 30 seconds. Come on, you got to come and answer.
These are hard decisions.
All right, next time. All right, Ellis Henican, ladies and gentlemen. Check out the book, The End of the Party.
The Party's Over.
The Party's Over. Sorry, The Party's Over. Charlie, Chris, and Ellis Henican, and we'll have hopefully the governor on with that, and we'll have you back again to talk some great issues. Steve Malzberg Show. We're coming back with Bill Gertz on Newsmax TV and radio.